I am Marcus James Dixon with Gold Derby, and we would like to welcome Eric Litman, one of the editors on One Piece, Netflix's live action version of the popular Japanese animated series. So, Eric, how much did you know about this animated version of One Piece before you took on the job of the live action one?
Well, thank you for having me. I knew about One Piece for a while. I was on a show called Marvel's Agents of Shield, and and I worked with one of the co-showrunners, Matt Owens. And when that show came to an end, I heard he was doing One Piece, and I was like, "Oh wow, this sounds great!" And the episodes I worked with on Matt were always epic and big and a lot of fun, and I'd love to continue working with him. So I spoke to him for a little bit here or there. It was still way too early to take anything for anything real to happen. And then there was a thing called the pandemic that happened, and everything kind of delayed.
Mm.
So there was a few years that went by of talking to Matt off and on, and then when things started to open up again, I started hearing that the show was in the works. I was familiar with the manga at that point, and and I was like, I really want to get on the show. And some of the people that I've worked with on Black Sails were also involved on the show.
Mm.
Same set, same studio, same lot over in South Africa. So I was so excited to get involved. So when I finally got the call that they wanted to bring me on, I was just like absolutely beyond myself. I was so excited.
And in case anybody watching doesn't know, the original show has been going on since 1999, and there are now over 1,100 episodes. Like, that's such a monumental number. I'm guessing you haven't watched all of them.
I can't say I've watched all of them. The show was based on the comic, the manga, and so a lot of our material it comes from that.
Mm.
I will admit I did watch some of the anime prior to starting, just to familiarize myself a little bit more with the direction of the show, and it's great. It's everything One Piece is exciting.
And were you nervous about working on a show with such an enormous fan base? I mean, I imagine you want to make them all proud, but that also probably adds some pressure for you.
Well, uh, I wasn't nervous. I was, it's a responsibility. You want to make sure you do right by the fans. My experience over at Marvel, where we would have characters into the show that were huge fan favorites. Same thing with One Piece, Luffy, Zoro. Big responsibilities. Anime hasn't always translated well in the past, and we wanted to make sure that the fans really uh, responded well to the show. And the way we sort of did that was we wanted to make sure the show was grounded. It's tricky when you have somebody with special abilities, superpowers, somebody made out of rubber, and you want to connect with them. So you have to do that with caring for the characters, make sure there's emotional resonance, but also make sure the world's believable and that we can connect with these characters. So when Luffy is doing these big stretchy moves in his fights, we want to have a moment of levity in there, so we can connect with them, and it's just not all just crazy stretchy stunt moves the entire time.
Iñaki Godoy plays Monkey D. Luffy, the lovable wannabe pirate who has, these special rubber-like abilities, which you mentioned. What does Iñaki bring to this role that somebody else may not have? And you probably know his role better than anyone because you're the one that edits the final, thing together.
Well, he's Luffy.
Yeah.
He knows this character really well. He he comes prepared to set. Everybody came prepared to set. Everybody on the show really knew their characters inside and out. And plus we also had the benefit of our showrunners, Battle and Steve Maeda, and then also Oda, who knew these characters really well. So they were able to steer the ship and give us really very well thought out notes to really help craft the show and make sure. And their notes were absolutely Matt's a lifelong fan. Oda obviously created the comic, so it's no surprise that the fans really responded well.
And there's so much going on in the first episode, lots of different ideas and genres and tones coming together. Do you remember what your original conversations were like regarding what the look of the pilot should be in terms of editing?
Sure. Uh, the pilot had a lot of there was a lot of discussion about that, as all pilots are. The One Piece world has a lot of genres, a lot of tones, a lot of themes, all put into one. And we wanted to make sure that the fans could connect to that, but also understand what is this world of One Piece. And one of the big things we tried to really emphasize in that, especially in that first 20 minutes, was the execution of Gold Roger. What does that do to this world? What did that spark? What did it make all these characters set out to achieve? And ultimately what that was the pirate revolution, which is the world we find ourselves when Luffy is of age to become finally that pirate. And this whole world is in search of the One Piece, which is what Gold Roger's execution was meant to do. So there was a lot of discussion about the Easter eggs in the crowd, Shanks and Mihawk and some other characters, which I'll let the fans find. And it was important for us to really set the stage right out of the gate, who these people are. And there was this premiere on the Santa Monica Pier when we watched the pilot, and you don't know. You're really close to the material. You hope the fans respond well, and when that sequence came on, the fans were cheering, and we were like, "Okay, we did it. We mission accomplished."
Yeah, Netflix went all out on that premiere at the Santa Monica Pier. I mean, so many fans there. I think they were giving out straw hats to everybody, and the bartenders were serving, the gum gum drinks.
Yeah.
It was so fun.
And there's also now I saw online, there's a One Piece cafe bar in Las Vegas, which is pretty cool.
We've talked a little bit about the special effects, like Luffy's rubber abilities. What is your collaboration like with the visual effects team? And, in terms of the editing, what comes first? Do the special effects come first, or does your job come first?
Well, it's sort of a combination. They definitely have a plan before editorial begins, before they shoot anything. We have storyboards. We have pretty good ideas what's going to be shot, for a number of reasons. And when they start shooting, I'll have storyboards to use as a guide to let me know what the thought is here and what we're setting out to achieve. Things always change. We have a great visual effects team led by Victor Scalise, Scott Ramsey. They just delivered wonderful visual effects to us. We always had previs and temp visual effects that we could use as placeholders, so we can understand timing and understand what the intent of the shot is. And they were always very receptive to things changing and different ideas coming about. And specifically on the pilot, we had a lot of thoughts about how to get us into the One Piece world. And I had a lot of conversations with Victor and Scott about can we have a shot that does this, or can we have a shot that does that? And they would quickly have their guys come and temp something for me and give me a very rudimentary previs, and I would cut it in the show. And based on those ideas and our conversations, that would spark another idea that ultimately became the pilot. So we had a really good collaboration with the visual effects department.
And I know you're a big fan of the Zorro character. What was it like working on his episode where we get to see, his background and flashbacks?
Well, I'm really proud of episodes 3 and 4. I'm extremely proud of 4 in particular. We had a sequence where Zorro's in the well. He's been thrown in the well, and he's trying to get out. And he's climbing up, and he's struggling, and he falls a couple of times. And then we had these flashbacks of young Zorro becoming the greatest swordsman. His journey becoming, well, when it started to become the greatest swordsman, and why he chose that path. And these scenes were they were shot, they were scripted and shot and ultimately cut in a very linear fashion. And they were great performances. The director, Emma Sullivan, shot wonderful material. And it was, everyone really liked these scenes, but there was a note, I believe it might have been from Oda, saying, hey, this is really good stuff here, but it is sort of taking a little bit longer than I think we'd like. Is there a way to intercut this? Is there a way to move this along faster? So we went and looked at the scenes, and what I was able to do was recut those sections in an intercut way. And I was able to utilize more of the footage that Emma shot, specifically of Zorro climbing out of the well, present day Zorro climbing out of the well. There was just wonderful footage of close-ups of his face and hands, etc. That I in the linear fashion, I didn't have places to use. So now suddenly in the intercut version, I was able to use more of that footage, and it was very exciting. It was, we discovered a lot of great opportunities in the edit with the producers and the showrunners, and ultimately Oda, of how to really tell that story in a very exciting way.
And, fight scenes are always extra challenging to edit because there's so many, different cuts, and they're so fast paced. And Zorro has multiple swords that he's using in these fight scenes. How does that complicate things for you and your team?
Oh, yeah. We have a wonderful fight, an action team that plans these stunts really well, and I have a really good idea what the plan is prior to what's shot, and they deliver great footage. Everyone shoots great footage. Emma was terrific at that, and I might change things here or there, but the fights are they're extremely dynamic and a lot of fun, and I couldn't be more proud of that stuff.
So maybe it looks harder than it is. Is that basically?
Well, I don't want to say it's easy.
Yeah.
No, but everybody brings their aid to this. It's a true collaboration.
In the show, we see how eating a devil fruit can give people different powers, and it makes me wonder, if you were to take a bite, what do you think your power would be if you bit into one?
Well, I mean, Luffy's stretchy power is great. He seems to be pretty impervious to everything. I'm going to hold off to season 2. I've read some of the scripts for season 2. I'm pretty excited about where things are going. I don't want to say too much, but there's some pretty cool powers coming.
Ooh, that's a good tease. I don't like spoilers, but I like teases like that. It gets, gets me excited. And when it comes to the Emmy Awards, you have to submit one episode to the judges, kind of as an example of your overall work. And, which episode did you end up going with, and why was that?
I'm going to go with episode 4, Zorro's Origin. I'm just extremely proud of how that edit came together. There was a lot of sequences in there that we discovered in post, just moving things around, really emphasizing character, really honing in specifically on Zorro's origin. We have young Zorro by the river, learning that Kuina has died, and we really concentrated hard on those performances, making sure we really felt for young Zorro, so that we understood where present day Zorro was going. And the intercutting of that well was I'm extremely proud of that, and just how we discovered ways to use footage in the original edit that we just didn't have opportunities to do. And then also at the end, the end is Usopp talking to at the end, where he learns that he becomes captain, and he, it's just a really all around great encompassing of that episode. and Luffy fighting Kuro. Just a great. I was at WonderCon and I showed that little scene at the end where he defeats Kuro. And the fans just went crazy, and I'm just extremely proud of that episode.
I'm always a fan of villains in movies and TV shows, and One Piece is chock full of great villains. My favorite is Buggy the Clown. I love that his personality is so fun, and then he can throw his body parts around, which is
Yeah.
wild. Who's your favorite villain in One Piece?
Well, I mean, I'm always going to be partial to Kuro just because I was cutting him.
Hmm.
He was a lot of fun. He was really just he encompassed that villain really well, especially in episode 3. You know, when there's a scene where he murders Mary, and he's zipping around Mary in that winery section, and it's just, again, there was another sequence that kind of came together in the edit. It was much longer. He did a lot more moves, and he was kind of all over the place. And we were sort of trying to figure out how to really make that scene scary.
Hmm.
And what we did in the edit is we paced it up, and we did a lot of whip hands and jump cuts, and it was sort of one of those things, like I sort of discovered it as I was editing it. And when that stuff happens, I'm always and you're able to pull it off, I get very excited about that. And that was the first time that we really showed what Kuro's power was. And I know the producers were in South Africa when they shot that, and I was sending scenes back and forth to the director and producers while they were shooting it, just to make sure we got everything that we needed. And everyone was very excited about that. And again, it was just another one of those things, a true collaboration between directors, producers, writers, and the editor.
Hmm. And before we go, we're a big awards website here at Gold Derby. What would it mean to you to get the nomination for One Piece at the Emmy Awards?
Well, it's just getting a nomination, and it would be great.
Mhm.
You're being acknowledged by your peers, your colleagues, for work that you're extremely proud of. And I think the work is really, really strong. I think it would be great for everybody who was involved to know that this show is, and they know that, but this show is, it's award worthy, and it's really high quality work that everybody brought to the table, and to see my work be nominated would just be, that would be very exciting. I think about the sacrifices, my parents did as I was trying to accomplish my goals, and my girlfriend, and even my dog. It just would be exciting.
Mhm. Well, thank you for chatting with us today, Eric, and can't wait for season 2 of One Piece.
Okay, thank you.